Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He thought, he heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
Well, you just heard it. Donald Trump, drunk with power and completely misreading the will of the American voter and overplaying his hand and playing into the hands of the Democrats, has decided that one of the first things he may consider doing is going after Joe Biden criminally because, quote unquote, he didn't give himself a pardon. I'm Michael Popok for another head scratcher of a hot take here on Legal AF, courtesy of Donald Trump's addled brain. Let's explain a couple of things, first of all. Donald Trump himself was just the beneficiary of a major historical, wrong-headed Supreme Court decision in just July, giving him or anybody that occupies the office tremendous immunity from any criminal prosecution if it falls within core constitutional function of the presidency, official conduct like the scope of his employment stretched to its outer boundaries. All that gets covered with presidential immunity. How do I know that? Because there's a case called Trump versus the United States that says exactly that. And only if it's the most private of conduct. And for the life of them, the Supreme Court MAGA couldn't figure out what private conduct could even be. Could there be a order by the commander-in-chief president to take out a political rival with SEAL Team 6? Maybe. This was the type of discussions that was going on during the debate. And we have, whether we like it or not, we have the Supreme Court decision. So what is Donald Trump talking about? He's going to go after Joe Biden. What did Joe Biden have to pardon himself for? He was going to pardon himself? Trump was all over Biden because he pardoned his family to put them under a protective shield so that they wouldn't have to spend the rest of their natural-born days defending themselves against a MAGA-in-chief and a retribution-driven administration. Nothing wrong with that. Same reason there's nothing wrong with having pardoned Hunter Biden. Let's be frank. Joe Biden would not have pardoned his family, would not have pardoned his sisters-in-law and brothers-in-law and brothers and sisters or his son if he wasn't followed by Donald Trump, right? It's almost like a catch-22. If he had defeated Donald Trump, he would have this problem to begin with. But if like an Obama, a Clinton, a Carter, a Bush had followed after Biden, he wouldn't worry about these things. But Donald Trump doesn't respect norms. There are no social norms or mores. There is no social contract. There is no constitutional guardrail with Donald Trump. And so there is, however, new Supreme Court precedent, courtesy of Donald Trump, that tells him, or should be telling him, there is no ability to go after Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't have to pardon himself for doing his job. Yeah? I know there's these ridiculous rumors out there, perpetuated by MAGA, that even, Bob Woodward, the intrepid investigative reporter formerly of the Washington Post, even he believes that the Biden crime family is bigger than Watergate. I've never seen that properly confirmed or corroborated. That was just another lie that circulated, a misinformation that circulated on social media. But even with that comment, there is no proof. Look, the almost the entirety of the 118th Congress in the House was spent investigating the Biden crime family, as they called it, for political fodder and political theater to help Donald Trump. That's the only reason it was there, not because there's any merit to it. What, the person that went to the FBI and said he had proof that that Joe Biden and his son took $5 million apiece in bribes? He's in jail now for perjury and for lying to federal officers about that and the FBI about that. That was the basis for Jim Jordan saying, we got to get to the bottom of this. We've got this guy, got this Russian American who says he saw it. Yeah, he's now in jail. Yeah. And they looked at, even though, and this should shock the conscience of everybody, regardless of your political stripe or no stripe. The Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee issued subpoenas and got bank records for private citizens that happened to be named Biden or related to Joe Biden. They're bank records, just to rummage around and scare the crap out of them. This is why Joe Biden put them under a protective shield of pardons. Yeah. And even with the records, even with the Hunter Biden laptop, even with the photos of Joe Biden meeting whomever at whatever time, it's not corruption. If that's corruption, Donald Trump should be in jail. He and his family made $100 million while they were in office the last time. I'm not even properly counting the Trump International Hotel, the old post office, where he forced everybody doing business with the government to go pay his hotel rates. And $30 Diet Cokes. That's over there, right? I'm not even talking about Jared Kushner raising $2 billion for a private equity fund from Saudi blood money with no experience. Everybody in the Trump orbit is on the grift. Everybody. All of these meme coins, Bitcoins, fake NFTs, non-fungible tokens, photos, books, selling shoes and sneakers out of the back of a van. All that is to allow foreign entities to invest and buy a president. That's what they did with Bitcoin, which isn't traceable. So for this guy, Donald Trump, to tell his marketing department in Sean Hannity, it's effectively his marketing department. It's not independent journalism. It's not, it's not what you're supporting here on Legal AF and the Midas Touch Network. It's Fox. It's a Fox News Pravda vehicle, as if you were watching North Korean propaganda. One propaganda softball after another tossed at Donald Trump. I'm sure he had the questions in advance. And so I heard they say, well, I don't know, it was weird that Joe Biden should have pardoned himself. He didn't pardon himself. He put me through a lot. I might have to put him through a lot. Not if the Supreme Court has anything to say about it. This is the firewall that we've talked about here at the intersection of law and politics. This is the firewall that is at the intersection of law and politics. Federal courts, federal judges, Biden, Obama, Clinton appointees, and even some Trump appointees who are country club Republicans and not MAGA, who are going to be like, no, we're not going to authorize that search warrant. We're not going to authorize that wiretap. The magistrate judges, by the way, who really run the day-to-day operations in criminal cases, including search warrants, wiretap authorization, and the rest, most of them are not MAGA. They're not lifetime appointments. And they're not going anywhere. And a lot of them are hanging around from past administrations. So they're going to be like, no, we're not going to give you a search warrant. We're not going to give you a wiretap. We're not going to let you, put a bug on this. We're not going to let you open up an investigation or get these bank records or open up an internal revenue service audit or whatever. So it's going to be these federal judges and circuit courts, appellate courts that are right-minded and fair-minded, like there's 12. Just a little teachable moment here. There's 12 appellate circuits in our federal system that sit over the government, that sit over federal trial courts. We number them 1 through 11 plus the federal circuit. So there's 12. This is one step below the Supreme Court, and they're done by region. So First Circuit starts up in, New Hampshire, Massachusetts and Maine, Second Circuit, New York and Connecticut, Third Circuit, New Jersey, I think Puerto Rico's in there, some other ones. You kind of come down. Fourth, you're getting into North Carolina and Virginia. You see how this map is running? The Fifth Circuit, which used to be Florida, got split off about 40 years ago, became Louisiana, Texas, Alabama. Not Alabama. Then the 11th Circuit is Florida, Alabama, Georgia. That got spun off from part of the Fifth Circuit when the Fifth Circuit got too big. Then you flip over to the Ninth Circuit, which covers Washington, California, and Oregon, and Nevada. And then you've got the ones in the middle, like the Seventh Circuit, Chicago, and everything like that. Over them are United States Supreme Court justices who are assigned as the responsible justice for each circuit, right? Basically, the MAGA are over the red state circuits, and the democratically appointed ones for justices are over the blue states. That's how that works. And so we're aiming for the friendly territory of federal judges in New York and California, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, the District of Columbia, California, and the like. That's why you're going to see a lot of cases coming out of those regions to get up to the circuit courts of the first, the second, the third, fourth's not so great, the 11th, the ninth. I'm pointing to the 11th, but I said the ninth. Those are the friendly appellate courts for us, because they lean moderate or Democrat. We got to stay away from Texas and the 5th, Florida and the 11th. You see where this is going? Those are the Louisiana and all that. Got to stay Alabama. Got to stay away from all those. And this is where the battleground is for fighting for the soul of democracy for the next 4 years. You know, we're 3 days into the administration and 3 days less in his 4 years than there was yesterday. You know what I mean? So we got to just stay right here at the intersection of law and politics. I'm not worried about these idle threats, and we can't be distracted by Donald Trump going on national television saying Joe Biden should have pardoned himself. I'm going to go after him. That's just political fodder, political rhetoric. That's just bread and circus to his followers. That's all that is. We can't be distracted by it from all of the failed policies that he's about to implement or are implementing. That's what we got to focus on. Saturday Night Live did a great little skit on it last weekend. They said, they had a whole panel like it was Rachel Maddow and MSNBC on the opener of Saturday Night Live. And they were talking about, we got to stay focused, like I'm saying it here. You can't be distracted by every little shiny object that Donald Trump, this just in, Donald Trump is proposing swapping Connecticut for Italy. They spent 20 minutes talking about that. We're not doing that here on Legal AF. We don't blow smoke or sunshine, right? I give answers. I take questions when I do my live show, Popok Live on Tuesday nights. I don't pull punches. I don't take prisoners. Here we are, right? And I think that's what people expect from me and from Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Take a minute, let the rest of the world know, and more importantly, YouTube know you like this content. You want this content. You can't live without this content. Suddenly I've broken a few good men, but in any event, here we are. So I'm glad you're here with me. Hit the blue subscribe button. Until my next reporting, I am Michael Popok.
In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.